steps bring the array of solid forms and yellow light into being? Did the painter turn the painting on its side and paint the sky vertically? How does one get away from oneself? How can the incidental arrange a painting? How does one impede the insistent bent or bend of one's hand? How does one make light and air and solidity out of mistakes? How does one have the control to make a painting like this? Or did Claude too surrender the making to God, retiring his hands to dustbins and painting with brush and teeth? It is my job to show the inherent irrationality in the implementation of a painting. Eventually, the painting might coalesce and make sense narratively or structurally. Following the path that leads to the moment of a painting's resolution requires attuning one's brain to the intuitions that coincide with heaving brush in hand. I do not know why I make decisions in a painting. When an opportunity, or as David Lynch says, an idea, presents itself, I follow it and pray that my approach does not pitch the canvas into beige. Where did history painting go? History painting was a genre of art from 1400 to about 1900. After that, abstraction and irrationality of movements such as Dada de-emphasized the constructed narrative space and tried to forefront subjectivity. We might feel it difficult to relate to the early components of subjectivity, Mondrian and Malevich, as their personal, perhaps private journeys as artists informs their work. But for the time being, artists envision the fragmentary, elusive quality of a perception of wealth. Then, global culture dealt with the colossal historical events of World War II and colonization. How could images justify history in the wake of unspeakable disaster? Many would say that no one could ever make a history painting again. In New York, the 1950s banned objective images. Jackson Pollock's subjective experience now dominated the American imagination. Perhaps a deep and heroic journey to the shallowest pits of one's internal realm would render the group of man's now apparently villainous ways. But the critic spokesperson of the abstract expressionists, Clement Greenberg, thought it better not to end history so soon, and so New York evolved again in the 1960s. Pop art would veer back towards objectivity by renewing collective judgment. Where is history painting today? Can we call the retrograde techniques executed in the French academies still today historic painting, history painting? What about the social critique performed by the deft hands of studied rhetoricians? Blank canvases? Queer cubism? All ostensibly mimetic and rational responses to a tragic and irrational world. Where does irrationality come from? One could say immediately it comes from God, the celestial world that we cannot grasp with our feeble mirror neurons. Perhaps looking to God as the explanation of irrationality in life may appear antiquated. We might look to nature as a source of will beyond our understanding. But even in nature, some believe that with the right collection of data points, we will map the weather and compute irrationality entirely, eventually. I could, like Freud and the Surrealists, invoke the dark recesses of the unconscious as the wellspring of the unknowable. But the general public's consensus, with scholasticism's rubber stamp, has run Freud out beyond the horizon, out of sight, hopefully out of mind. We can all see plainly how the ego, id, superego division echoes painfully the Christian conception of the human condition. Freud thought of the id as the devil and the superego as God in order to appeal to a secularized world still hungry for divine explanation. for the social stigma is still felt. Surrealists took his ideas and rationally used them in the pursuit of irrationality. Dalí took the baton from his Spanish compatriot Picasso and began showing the world illustrations of a new divinity in subject matter. He makes a bridge between pop art and the subjectivity by the sheer force of his personality.